in a live talk show. I find choice and go for nothing less. Sensation for excellence. NTA10 station for excellence.
NTA10 station for excellence.
The NTA Lagos Channel 10 hereby advise the general public to make their suggestions, observations, and complaints on our transmission and programs to the following numbers: 006-286-9036 or 0810-910-6416, or email us at ntalagoschannel10gm@gmail.com or lagoszone@nbc.gov.com.
NTA station for excellence.
How market? My country people, how market? How market now on our Munge program to showcase to una different markets where book for markets all over Lagos, whether na clothes, home appliances, electronics, provisions, food store, and any type of goods where you define. Name provisions, food store, and any type of goods where you define. Name am. How market na the show for una. You go fit know where dem dey sell am and how much dem dey sell am. And if you be market seller and you dey find program to showcase your products, goods and services, na how market be the show for you o. Join us every Wednesday by 7:30 p.m. on your Obonge Station for Excellence, NTA Lagos Channel 10. For more inquiries, make una call we dey ready for una.
The news tonight: Sudan crisis. The Joint Matriculation Examination Board, JAMB, rolls out modalities for absorbing returnees, plus latest in the entertainment and sports world. Good evening. You're welcome to the news at 7. I am Ntamiegbe, and we start the news with the rollout modalities from JAMB. The JAMB Admissions and Matriculation Board, JAMB, says it has rolled out modalities to absorb returnee students from war-torn countries into Nigerian universities. The modalities are follow-ups to the high-level meeting between the Federal Ministry of Education, FME, Federal Ministry of Health, Joint Admissions and Matriculation Board, JAMB, Nigeria and Diaspora Commission, NIDCOM, National Universities Commission, NUC, and other critical stakeholders on the integration of returnee Nigerian students from war-torn countries into the nation's tertiary education system. The Registrar, JAMB, Professor Ishak Oloyede, while presenting the modalities at the virtual meeting, says it is imperative to hold talks with the Vice-Chancellors following the peculiarities of each university and variation in the responses received from them on the matter. He notes that the emergency meeting is to fashion out uniform standards and minimum acceptable benchmarks for the proposed absorption in line with global best practices. Moving on, the National Agency for Food and Drugs Administration and Control, NAFDAC, has arrested 3 suspects engaged in the repackaging of expired concentrated premixes, manufacture and selling of herbal drugs. Haman Jabani reports that the task force team was at Abuja and Zuba, a suburb of the Federal Capital Territory. The reports.
National Agency for Food and Drug Administration and Control, NAFDAC, took the team to Idu Industrial Area in Abuja, where a warehouse for repackaging expired concentrated premixes was discovered Belonging to Feed Avenue Limited, premix is a mixture of vitamins, trace minerals, medicaments, feed supplements, and others. It is a value-added solution for animal feedings. An estimated 20,000 bags of the premix with an estimated 1.8 billion naira market value was discovered with other items. The team also intercepted this vehicle loaded with the product on its way to Jos to make delivery.
We came to the warehouse and we discovered expired items, expired, removed, and all the new ones replaced.
The one that is not even labeled or labeled is there, and we asked, where is it produced? He said they only brings it for him to sell as a warehouse manager.
The warehouse manager claimed ignorance when asked questions about the products.
He do nothing because I was just being employed for the tax that I'm doing here, and I believe it is appropriate for the organization to perhaps meet my employer.
At Zuba, the task force team raided a shop where herbal medicines were produced, and the market value of the product is put at over 2 million naira.
It's manufacturing unregistered herbal preparations with even some aphrodisiacs.
I'm a professional traditional medicine practitioner.
The team says it will carry out full investigations, and if the suspects are found guilty, the law will take its course. Hamman Jabani, NTA News.
Away from NAFDAC, state governors have started leveraging on the open door policy being demonstrated by President Bola Tinubu. Correspondent Musbao Dan Wahab reports that it was the turn of some governors from the opposition party who visited the State House this Thursday.
Engendering government of national healing is one of the promises of President Bola Tinubu at inauguration.
We will need the president to help us intervene and let's finish the road. We talked about our Ibom deep sea port. We will need the president to also intervene at the seaport.
We have a number of dormant assets in Enugu which we believe, partnering with the federal government, were able to transform them into productive assets.
Governor Peter Enugu State, who is seeking freedom for his people from the shackles of non-state actors, is also asking for support of the federal government in this regard.
We've banned the sit-at-home on Mondays in Enugu, and obviously what that means is that we will of course need to, heighten our security, tackle the challenges that would flow from that. You know that the Southeast has made a collective demand to have Nnamdi Kanu released, and we basically identified with that.
Members of the defunct G5 governors were also at the State House.
To let the president know what we stood for: fairness, justice, and equity. And we haven't changed.
Sheyi Makinde of Oyo State remains the only serving governor out of the G5. From the State House, Musbah and Wahab, NT News.
Meanwhile, the major oil marketers association of Nigeria, Moman, has expressed support for the decision of the federal government to finally end the fuel subsidy regime. Members of the association were led by Governor Dapo Abiodun of Ogun State to the presidential villa on a visit to President Bola Tinubu. State House correspondent Musbao Dan Wahab reports.
So, fuel subsidy is gone. The popular statement that finally confirmed the full deregulation of the oil sector through the removal of the last subsidy on petrol pump price. Though hard-hitting to some, many Nigerians are coming in defense of a decision that has finally broken a 46-year-old jinx attempted by some past leaders.
Good afternoon.
It was a good afternoon at the villa for a meeting that promises relief for many Nigerians who are still bearing the brunt of the blunt statements. This visit means more than courtesy from these key players who had longed for such a brave decision. And as it came, they are in solidarity with the president that they described as a courageous leader. They now foresee a market that works better amidst healthy competition that will ensure greater gains for Nigeria.
On the part of the marketers, we're committed to ensuring that we ensure competitiveness, fair pricing, and also services that the populace will be very happy about. The removal of subsidy will unleash the potential of Nigeria. It's going to unleash a lot of resources, that will now be used in education, infrastructure.
And we are confident that once this 4 trillion naira per annum burden is, out of the window, it would enhance. Once this 4 trillion naira per annum burden is, out of the window, it would enhance, our faculty allocations as different states.
The immediate measure Nigerians have been using the effect of a subsidy removal seems to be in sight as the association promises some intervention.
We're going to work at providing real mass transit buses that work. The ones that will run on CNG, which is the compressed natural gas and diesel, interchangeably. And hopefully we're going to start with about 50 to 100. And that is in the very, very short term. And these are locally produced. So you see that we're also providing jobs, a lot more jobs, because we're using assembly plants. We're not importing this. That's less pressure on our foreign exchange. And that's more jobs for our Nigerians.
So both the government intervention and their own interventions complementing each other will seriously uplift the masses from whatever envisaged negative impact of that policy.
Well, the federal government says it is now ready to take the lead, but also wants key players, particularly corporate groups, to also join in helping the masses through the hardship that the fuel subsidy removal may bring. From the State House, Muspal and Wahab, NC News.
And next, fully migrating procurement processes to digital platform will go a long way in building on the gains of Public Procurement Act since its establishment in 2007. This was restated at the 3rd Annual National Conference and Award Ceremony of the Association of Public Procurement Practitioners of Nigeria in Lagos. Ometere Chiedu reports.
Public Procurement Act, no doubt, has improved and increased the level of transparency and efficiency in public procurement processes over the years, but more can still be achieved through e-procurement. This is why the keynote speaker at the 3rd Annual APON Conference, Adekojo Fumilayo, is highlighting the benefits of e-procurement, which he says is a viable tool for transparency, efficiency, competition, integrity, and cost saving.
Technology has gone to this advanced stage where you cannot just be stereotyped with your way of typing or maybe having it on the paper all the time. You need to go technical with your work, to advance in your work, to be able to log into a system comfortably without asking for help, to be able to input data into your system and to know about e-procurement.
Inadequate internet access and other infrastructure shortfalls were, however, identified as some of the challenges slowing down e-procurement.
We are ready to embrace e-procurement in Nigeria. And also we have seen the Nigeria Television Commission also partnering with us to making sure that we achieve this level goal.
Reduce interface between contractors and suppliers in such a way that will benefit the country, especially in view of corrupt practices and issues like that.
Notable individuals, including late President Musa Yar'Adua, who signed the Procurement Act into law, were honored for their quality of transparency and love for due process.
The purpose of it is to reduce the corruption, to help the government to achieve its aim, the transparency in the procurement system in Nigeria.
Every available resource is coming from the public, and so the public deserve to benefit from that which they have been contributing to.
The association also inducted 341 new members in Lagos. Ometere Chiedu.
We'll go on a short break. More reports afterwards. Please stay tuned.
It's time. good friends. Good for me and you.
Malt tonic is enriched with vitamins and minerals for that rush of vitality you need to reach greatness.
It's Malt Tonic time! You're welcome back. And if you're just joining us, this is NTA Lagos Channel 10 News at 7. The world must work together to create a new balance with the ocean that no longer depletes its bounty, but rather restores its vibrancy and brings it new life. This, the United Nations says, is a task that must be fulfilled as the global community marks Oceans Day this year. Onengiye Fineface reports.
Cover over 70% of the planet, produce at least 50% of the planet's oxygen, provide protein for more than 1 billion people, host most of Earth's biodiversity, and provide jobs for an estimated 40 million people. Although the ocean serves as life source supporting the sustenance of humanity, it receives very little attention from people across the world. But tides are changing, this being the focus of the commemoration of World Oceans Day 2023.
But this year's World Oceans Day reminds us that the tides are changing. Last year, we adopted an ambitious global target to conserve and manage 30% of land and marine and coastal areas by 2030, as well as a landmark agreement on fisheries subsidies. Realizing the great promise of these initiatives requires collective commitment. Sustainable Development Goal 14, to conserve and sustainably use the ocean resources, hangs in the balance. This World Oceans Day, let's keep pushing for action. Today and every day, let's put the ocean first.
In celebrating Oceans Day this year, the United Nations is joining forces with decision makers, scientists, the private sector, indigenous people, and civil society to put the health of the ocean first, especially by keeping it clean and exploiting its resources with a sense of responsibility. The ocean provides countless benefits for humanity. On World Oceans Day, it is time to follow the changing tide to support the ocean. Onengiye Fineface, NTA News.
And so, the national leadership of the People's Democratic Party has taken a firm decision and a clear direction that National Assembly members elected on its platform will not betray the party when it comes to selection of leadership of both chambers next week during the inauguration of the 10th Assembly. The party's position was re-echoed at a media briefing on its position of emergence of National Assembly leadership. Timothy Yusuf reports.
The National Publicity Secretary of the PDP, Debo Ologunagba, on behalf of the leadership, emphasized that the party is working together with its members-elect and opposition parties in the two chambers towards the emergence of next leadership of the National Assembly.
We're united, we're focused as a party and as members-elect, going to the same direction, having regard to the fact that, number one, the opposition party, they are clearly in a comfortable majority.
He also said that the PDP is not taking its eyes off the fact that the process of the 2023 presidential election is still ongoing at the Presidential Election Petition Court and other election petition tribunals across the country, demanding the immediate transfer of the Ogun and Nasarawa election tribunals to Abuja for safety and guarantee of justice. Meanwhile, the communication advisor to Tajuddin Abbas and Benjamin Kalu campaign organization and PDP lawmaker-elect representing Idiato North and South Federal Constituency of Imo State, Ikenga Ugochinyere, said lawmakers have accepted the message and hand of friendship extended by the president towards having a stable and united all-inclusive parliament that will deliver on urgent national goals.
He appealed to lawmakers to join him in having a rancor-free election on June 13, and he appealed to other parties. He spoke like he wasn't even presidential. It was like a fatherly appeal.
Ugochinyere re-emphasized that the president's decision to invite members of the opposition alongside lawmakers of the ruling party in his quest for seamless takeoff of government is a positive development that has been accepted on the grounds of people's interest and need for courageous decisions in solving huge national problems. Timothy Yusuf, NT News.
Let's join Ramat Adebayo for trending stories in the entertainment world.
Street music sensation Sheyi Vibes has released a new album titled Vibe Till Thy Kingdom Come. Since coming into the mainstream in 2022 with his hit single Chance, Sheyi Vibes has become one of the hottest artists whose music is defining Afrobeat soundscape. On June 8, 2023, Sheyi Vibes released a new album titled Vibe Till Thy Kingdom Come. The album is his third project in the space of 8 months.
Me I no feel wait till Jesus come, but I go back to that kingdom come. Now from my heart I dey sing this song.
The album comes off the back of the release of the 2-track Amdala and Ashik he released last month. Also, the play of the actress for a better life has been heard. Yoruba veteran actress Margaret Bandele Olayinka, popularly known as Yagbonkom, recently experienced massive support from her fans as she received a brand new car and almost 5 million naira in donation.
Ọmọbọ́lá ní ọlọ́dún ṣe tá à ń sọ yìí kò bá wù mí kí n sọ púpọ̀ nípa wọn ṣùgbọ́n wọn kì í ṣe ẹni tó jẹ́ wípé wọ́n fẹ́ràn kẹsà máa háìpù àwọn. àmì náà fi lè nìyẹn lọ́wọ́ ènìyàn ò dá wọ́n lè sọ sómi.
This development followed the veteran actress' social media plea, where he expressed frustration over not owning a car, despite her long-standing career in the Nigerian movie industry. Having dedicated decades to her craft, the 64-year-old took to social media to share her plight, urging her fans to celebrate her while she was still alive. Moving on, US-based Nigerian artists Raphael and Tisa Bain have just released a collaboration single titled Sojin. The single Soji is an upbeat serenade for a subject of affection built around Afrobeat and dance. On Soji, both artists take turns in serenading their subject of love, encouraging her to dance along to the fast-tempo song of awakening towards love and affection. Soji is poised to be a record that endears music lover to both artists. That is on entertainment news. I am Ramat Adebayo.
Let's join Gift George for trending stories on sports updates.
Africa's soccer ruling the African football has released the draws for the under-17 and under-20 women's qualifier. According to the draws, the Falconers will enter the competition from the second round and will face the winner between Chad and Mauritius, while the Flamingos will also enter the competition in the second round and will meet the winner between Mauritius and Central African Republic. Still talking football, Super Eagles coach Jose Pacero has called up 23 players for next weekend 2023 Africa Cup of Nations for a match against the Leone Stars of and home-based player Victor Sochima, Olorunleke Ojo, Ebube Duru, and Divine Nwachukwu from June 18, 2023, have concluded plans to host a world-class tournament. This following the rising profile of Lagos as the hub of table tennis in Africa, having staged several international tournaments since 2012.
Even from the qualifiers, you're going to find that mainly those who are also in the top rankings that will be able to qualify for the main draw. Many of the players coming through the qualifiers are foreigners who have not gotten enough points to be seeded in the main draw.
Points from this tournament counting towards your Olympic quota. So that's why we have so many players looking to come here to do well here. And our players also have to start challenging.
The players will battle over 8 available slots into the main draw as preliminary round serves off on Monday, 12th. In basketball, Colonel Sam Ameju retired has been unanimously re-elected as the president of FIBA Africa Zone 3 and member of FIBA Central Board for the 2023-27 term of office of the zone. At the sidelines of the FIBA Africa Congress held on Thursday, 8th June 2023. 2023 in Maputo, Mozambique.
My director.
Music